sending just a tow vehicle out. They will not go full course yellow for him. They can get him safely off the course with only local yellow coverage. Let's get an update on Stefan Johansson from Gary.
Well, Tony Bettenhausen and the crew mystified. They say that from the radio conversation, the car just went dead. So they're getting all the electronics gear that they can assembled on pit wall, hoping that he can get a tow back to the pits, and then they can experiment with the various black boxes and possibly get him out. But once again, this tough luck and run of frustration for this team seemingly continuing, Paul.
Well, the order is, with 12 laps of 50 now complete, Paul Tracy leads it, followed by Nigel Mansell. You get a look at Robbie Gordon, who runs in fourth. Mario Andretti is chasing Mansell in third place. Then Ari Lyondike in fifth, Emerson Fittipaldi in sixth, Bobby Rahal is seventh, followed by Eddie Cheever, Al Unser Jr., and Teo Fabi. The key player to this point, at least the most spectacular, has been Robbie Gordon. Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The Indy cars continue. Don't forget the Volvo International. A final match, number 5 seed versus Peter Korda, the 4th seed, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's coming up here on ESPN. Eddie Cheever with Teo Fabi chasing him. Cheever back to occasional rides, but boy, he's giving this car a wonderful ride today. Started 15th, now runs in 8th place.
Leaves here, goes back to the Speedway in Indianapolis. We'll do 2 days testing next Wednesday and Thursday before he whistles off to Spa in Belgium to cover the Formula One race. But Cheever doesn't do as much racing as he wanted to, but will be back, he says, for a full season.
Paul Tracy is the leader, followed by Nigel Mansell, the current points leader. Mario Andretti is in third. Robbie Gordon in fourth place with a good drive, a spectacular drive up through the field. Ari Lyondike continues to be right at the back of Gordon, and Emerson Fittipaldi runs in sixth. Let's go down to Jan Beekes. Well, we thought we had Jan there for a moment. Not only Raul Boesel and his team having radio problems here. Let's try instead Gary Gerould.
Well, I think Jan is down the hill on the approach, coming up the hill into the pits, talking about position, and you know there's a chicane of cones to slow the teams down, and he was going to talk about the importance of being first into the pits for Newman Haas. Well, the Penske team is up here in mid-pits. They specifically selected a slot here. You've got Emerson Fittipaldi right over here, and then you've got this break, and then you've got Paul Tracy over here on this side. That gives this team a little extra room to work in case they have to come in on the same lap. But we understand now on this first anticipated stop, it'll more than likely be Tracy on lap 18. They'll hold Emo out until lap 19. Paul?
We watched Paul Tracy. Nigel Mansell really turned up the wick. He just cut a lap at 130.8 miles an hour. That is the fastest lap of this race thus far. There you see Mansell as he comes out from under the bridge, and the tremendous lead that they have over this three-way battle developing now for third place, with Mario Andretti currently occupying third.
One of the problems that Mansell thought he would have is this Penske, as the race goes on, does not use its tires or wear its tires out as quickly as the Lola. That's why as the race goes on, lap after lap, the Penske doesn't seem to lose the grip, and the Lola has shown tendencies to go off the pace as the race goes on. But he's in the fight right now.
Lyondike on station just behind Robbie Gordon, as we'll go back and take a look at Danny Sullivan and his telemetry. Unfortunately, we don't know how much oil's in this car.
Well, to the surprise of everybody, Sullivan is still out there, lap 14. I'm sure to the surprise of himself, because there's no doubt he saw that smoke. Very often it's a leaking seal in the turbocharger that causes the oil to leak in, particularly when he's going slowly. Maybe that he's at racing speed is actually better. Look at the lateral G's, almost at 3, pulling to the left.
Danny Sullivan rides in 16th. We'll let you ride with him.
You saw there his speed, 190. We saw 193 from Boesel earlier. Corner.
Here comes the start-finish line. That's Christian Danner just ahead of him as they head for the first corner. Let's watch.
192 for Sullivan there. That's every bit as quick. In fact, I believe it's quicker than we saw Bozell run up that front straight earlier.
Chevrolet telemetry coming off of that engine direct to us. Again, a car drops a quick wheel off. A downhill run here. Windy in this part, and then when they head into the woods, there is no wind pushing the car around. But all downhill into Station 5 here.
Hear that? You hear that? Something went wrong. It's over. It broke as we were in car with Sullivan, under braking, and finally it coughs enough. It's over.
Certainly not unexpected. He'll try to get the car off of the edge of the race course. Now plenty of oil coming out of the back of that car. Then he have to put his foot on the brake, keep him rolling all the way down the hill. Maybe that's his intention.
Yeah. Let's see what he says. Go to the track marshal. Will I go back? Will I roll down? Somebody obviously said no.
Shows you how much of a grade there is there. As Danny's saying, get me out of this place. I really don't want to sit here. Local Yellow covers Danny Sullivan's car in that position as his day is done. Leader is still Paul Tracy. He crosses the line as he increases the pace at 132 miles an hour. Fastest lap of the race thus far on the last lap for Paul Tracy. There's Mansell, there's Mario. Here's the rest of the group as they come down the hill. And Fittipaldi tries to make a move on Leyendijk. Leyendijk runs in fifth. Fittipaldi trying to get around him.
And remember, for the championship fight, it's Emerson that needs to finish ahead of Mansell. Remember, Tracy is 40-something points behind, so the chances of him catching Mansell are slim. But Emerson is a long way back here. He needs to get closer, and he needs to get ahead of Mansell to increase this championship fight.
Down the hill run for Leyendijk and Fittipaldi. And Fittipaldi still not contesting Leyendijk. That's the yellow zone. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Well, Paul, we're back, and what we were going to talk about before, and Gary was talking about pit position and pit selection, it all comes down to the chicane that's behind me. The chicane is marked out with cones, and you say, well, if there's an 80-mile-per-hour speed limit, why do you need a chicane? Well, IndyCar says that we want to keep you guys honest. We want to get you slowed down before you get there. Well, that pit position and pit selection means that for Nigel Mansell and for Mario Andretti, they can come flying through. Remember, there's no speed limit in this chicane. We're going to see them getting sideways and getting hard on the power. Remember to keep the camera on here with Nigel Mansell and also Mario Andretti, because they're in the first and second pit. They don't have to come slow out of the chicane. They can gas it, then jump right on the brakes, screw right into their respective positions in the pits. Now, just like Gary was saying, the Penske pits are further down. They have to slow down twice, but Nigel Mansell and Mario just once.
Ari Leyendijk just able to jump around Robbie Gordon in that continuing battle. Now Bobby Rahal is closing in to be part of it. So Leyendijk, who had been trying to handle up Gordon for a number of laps now, got the advantage, gone around him. Fittipaldi will set his sights on Gordon as well.
Two Ford engines versus two Chevrolet engines here. Rahal just about to claw his way back up to the back of this freight train, but I think he's in hang-on mode. He didn't just feel he had enough in this car to be able to attack and run to the front. He said he was going to have to let the race settle down and begin to come back to him a little bit.
Leyendijk's move. This is still the battle on the race course as Gordon tries to get back the position he just lost. And right behind him, there's Fittipaldi as he continues this fight. Rahal now closes in.
Because the Ganassi team will leave Lola and run the new Reynard IndyCar that is being designed and built in England as we speak. However, development continues with this Lola, and Leyendijk has a new front wing design on his car, which I believe Rahal is the only other one that enjoys such a similar design.
They're still showing a yellow flag at Station 5, the bottom of the hill, despite the fact that they already have Danny Sullivan under tow and will get him off of the race course. The race started under yellow as Paul Tracy got a bit of a jump on the rest of the field. They ran one lap under yellow, went to green. Paul Tracy has led ever since then. They went to a full course yellow when Adrian Fernandez got into the barrier and got in very hard, but he climbed out of the car and walked away, and we've come back to racing with no change at the front of the field. Paul Tracy and Nigel Mansell lead it. In third place is Mario Andretti, but they are laid out for Paul Tracy as Tracy comes up the hill, heads for the chicane, and for what should be the first of two stops, Gary Gerould is there.
Well, the moment that these teams wait so anxiously for, they want to display their skills, their capability. They're ready now. The Penske team for Paul Tracy. Here he is, perfectly on the mark. The young driver hit it right on the nose. No word about any discomfort in the cockpit. Remember, he's far from 100% physically, but they love the way the car's been working. They like the fuel mileage. Everything is very positive. Mansell is in. Tracy's out in 14 seconds. Let's go to Jan.
Nigel Mansell just screams away, Gary. They waited for every last drop of fuel. Not one change on Mansell's car. He's away.
Here comes Mansell. Tracy already out of the pits. Both of them have to be very concerned with the speed limit in the pits. Robbie Gordon is in the pits as well. All the cars theoretically should come in on this stop safe, perhaps. Bosell, because of the splash and go that he got earlier.
And you can see Gordon's not happy with the handling of that car. We saw them take front wing out of his car. Obviously it oversteers. That's what slowed him down a little bit. That maybe allowed Ari Lyondike to move ahead, which has now given him the lead. Very temporarily, though.
Lyondike stayed out, as did Fittipaldi, Raoul Boisel, and Mike Groff, so they run first through fourth. But on the next lap, they certainly will have to come in.
Well, three of them will. Remember, Boisel made a stop earlier.
Right to the lead.
So, although Boisel made a miscue, if this race fell into his hands, if there was another yellow, that actually may have been a good move earlier to come in.
So the key question will be, how will Raoul Boisel come on in relationship to both Paul Tracy and Nigel Mansell as the rest of the cars go in for their pit stop? Currently, you're looking at the 10 car. That is Ari Lyondike, and he is the leader.
He can't stay out much longer. He's probably on his way to the pit lane now, having done 18 laps. 16 was the magical lap number before we had that lengthy yellow. What's he going to do?
Through the final corner, yes, he comes over to the right and up the pit road, so he will relinquish the lead, as will, we assume, Fittipaldi. There he is. But Raoul Boisel stays out, as he should, because he picked up fuel in the early going.
And they look so slow and controlled when they do 80 miles an hour coming down this pit lane. They're in together. This is a fight between the two crews.
And Paul Tracy comes around both of them. And Tracy picks up the lead of the race, but Raoul Boisel may have fallen into a position that puts him into second place as the first round of pit stops are now being completed in the Texaco Havoline 200. Texaco Havoline 200 as you ride with Nigel Mansell. He is in third place with that miscue on the pit stop in the early going. Raoul Boisel picked up an advantage for this stop. Of course, he'll be out of the pit stop sequence for the remainder of the day now. So Raoul Boisel is in second place, and you can see looking ahead for Mansell's car, Boisel is not in sight. He is closer to Tracy than he is to Mansell, and he is beginning now to close on Paul Tracy.
Mansell's pit stop was not quick enough. It was not as fast as Tracy's, and just look at the lead now. Tracy has over the third place car, Nigel Mansell. We're leaving Boisel out of the